G'day, this is Michael from Coin Collecting and Detecting. Today I'm going to be going through these Australian paper banknotes, $1 paper banknotes and $2 paper banknotes. So I'm going to be looking for notes of value and I'll be searching mainly for first and last prefixes in the serial numbers of these notes here. And I'll show you how I go about doing that. All right, the first thing I do is I look at these two signatures here on the notes and I place those into piles with the same signatures. So this one is different to this one here. And I'll go through and I will pile them into piles with the same signatures. Okay, so I finished there now. So all these ones have these two signatures on it. All of these ones aren't in the greatest condition, but have these two signatures. And I've got one of these with these signatures on it. To value the notes, I use this book. It's a great reference and I've used it a lot and it's really helped me immensely. Renniks Australian Coin and Banknote Values. There is a newer edition. I've got the 29th edition here that I use. So with this book, for the banknotes towards the end of the book, but the first thing you do is turn to this page and you'll see all these signatures on this page, and these are the banknote signature identification chart for decimal banknotes. And what I do is, if I get a paper note like this one here, I've got to try and work out what signature that is. So if you're looking at this chart here, this signature is the same as this one here. So that's a Knight, HM Knight. And the second signature, this one here, I've got to search for it. It's the same as this one here, so that's a Stone. So we're looking at a Nightstone. So if you happen to have this book, and I really recommend it if you're serious about collecting and even selling banknotes and so on, this is on page 274 of this edition here. So from there, I can turn the page, and on this page here, we've got the $1 paper banknotes, and we've got lots of information here. So I know from the previous page that that's a Nightstone, so I have to try and find Nightstone in this list of information here. Now, if you come across here, you'll see that Nightstone. So this note was produced in 1977, and across over here, there's a number of different values for the notes that this book gives. So you can see here, it can be worth up to $400 in uncirculated condition if you have a first signature prefix or a last signature prefix. And that's mainly what I'm looking for today. I'm looking for the first signature prefix or last signature prefix. The notes I've got are not in very good condition, and I'll show you how to sort of rate the notes for their condition. So there's 5 different categories of condition. You might be able to see at the top here. So we've got uncirculated, about uncirculated, extremely fine, very fine, and fine. And those columns will tell you roughly how much the note is worth. Okay, so I've got my Nightstone $1 paper banknotes here. So the first thing it's going to do is going to try and work out if they're first or last prefix, because they're worth a lot more if they are first or last prefix, and there's not many of those around. So You have to look at these letters here. So you can see this letter before the numbers on the banknote. It's on both sides of the banknote. We're looking, a first signature prefix is CPK, or a last signature prefix is DGH. So I'm going to be looking for that on these notes, and I'll go through them fairly quickly. So that's the last one there. So no first or last prefix there. So that means these notes are all the general run. So in fair condition, it's worth $2. Very fine. $4, $6, $10, $20. These notes are fairly well worn. So they're probably all going to be in that $2 category, if not probably lower. So that's what we're sort of looking at there. All right, now I've got the Johnston Stone pile, Johnston Stone, and they're here, Johnston Stone. So first signature prefix looking for DGJ, and last prefix DPS. So let's see how we go. DGA. All right, there, nothing there. Okay, and the last one I've got here, this one is a Night Wheeler. So if you look here, I've got Night Wheeler, and Night Wheeler center thread or Night Wheeler side thread. So that thread is, there's a bar through the note here. It's a security element to the note, and just by looking at this one, you might be able to sort of see it in the right light here, but through here is where the thread is, and just from experience that looks like a side thread to me. So we're looking at a side thread down here, Night Wheeler side thread, and here's the values of them depending on the condition of the note. So I'm looking for a CGB or a CPJ, and I've got a CPG. So unfortunately not a first or last prefix. So we're just looking at these values here, 5 through to 35, and this note's got a hole in it. It's pretty well worn and so on. So we're probably down here in the lower 5 or less than $5 value-wise for that note there. So back on this page 274 of the book, it has a bit of a guide for the condition grading of each of the notes. So if it's an F, we're fine. It's a well-circulated note showing many folds and creases or wrinkling, but not excessively dirty. Colours are fairly clear. So it gives you a general guide of how to value it. Very fine is a circulated note showing folds and some signs of wear. Paper reasonably clean and crisp. Through to extremely fine. And if you can read through these descriptions here, and it just gives you a good guide as to what the value is according to the Renniks guide here. I find this really helpful for when I'm valuing notes. Okay, I got my $2 notes here, so same thing again, just going to look at the signatures and place them into piles with the same signatures. Okay, so I've got 3 different signature groups. I've got Johnston Fraser, I've got Johnston Stone, I have 2 Nightstones, and I have a Night Wheeler. Okay, let's go through my Johnston Fraser notes first. So I'm looking for first signature KRQ or last prefix LQG. So I'm just going to be looking for those here. So no first or last prefix, and values here $3 in the fine condition, and all of mine are around about that. They're pretty ordinary sort of condition wise there. Okay, next one up are the Johnston Stone. Johnston Stone, looking for JZH or KRP. No luck there. Alright, got two of the Nightstone ones here. So Nightstone Notes, made in 1979. Looking for JDX. No JDX, no, none of those. Okay, so for this note here, I've got the Night Wheeler. So the Night Wheeler, 1976, there's lots of different versions here. There's Night Wheeler Gothic center thread, there's Night Wheeler OCRB center thread, and a Night Wheeler OCRB side thread. Now the Gothic or the OCRB, if we flick to the page, and it'll explain a bit of that down here when it's talking about serial numbers. So Gothic numbers look like this, and the OCRB numbers look like this. So a good giveaway for me are the 9s and the 6s. The 9s and the Gothic are sort of rounded, and the 9s and the OCRB look like that. So if you've got 9s, it makes it easy, or 6s, but this one doesn't. So I've got to look for other numbers that will give away what we're looking at here. From experience, that's an OCRB. So that 7 there looks like that, and the 7 in the Gothic looks like that, so it doesn't look the same. This is an OCRB. And the second thing we need to look for is that center thread. So it talks about here in the book center or side thread, and explains how to determine. That's that metallic strip, that security strip in the note here. You might be able to sort of see it in that light that comes through the note. And to work it out, it's how far in from the side edge that the metallic strip is, and it's close to 55 centimeters, which means it's a side thread. If it's about 65 centimeters, or 65 millimeters, it's a center thread. So this one is a side thread. So if we once again flick back across, let's have a look where we are here. So we determine it's a Night Wheeler OCRB side thread. So we're looking at these ones here. First prefix HRZ and last prefix JEY. We don't have one of those. But in fine condition, note's worth $10 in value. Now this one here is a little bit dirty, quite creased, well worn. Don't think it's got any holes in it. Have a look a bit closer later. No tears, doesn't look like it initially. So it could be probably underneath that $10 value, but yeah, a little bit more than face value for this note here, which is quite good. All right, so thanks for watching my quick guide on what I do when I receive some paper banknotes and how I go about valuing them using the Renniks Australian Coin and Banknote Values guide here. Okay, thanks for watching.